Hello, welcome again to another podcast episode with your host Naziaty Muhammad Yaacob on the topic of artificial intelligence with Sam Zolfagharian, Ph.D., the president of YegaTech, and AEC Data and AI Strategy Consultant. We have been discussing in part one mostly on the skills necessary to be when we are challenged by AI is coming. AI for sure is coming, but for some people, they are, shall we say, they're not giving AI a chance to be considered because some of us are from the old school generation. So there have been some research that have been done, Dr. Sam. Hi, how are you again?
Hi, Naziaty. Thanks for
Okay.
having me again. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I've been doing this research with people from my generation who are directors of companies, and one gave me an interesting um, statement on what she think about AI. She was educated from a design school, a school that is focusing on design. And like me as well, we're concerned about authenticity. So what she said is authenticity or original design rather than a design that is derived from AI tools. So she said, I'm going to quote verbatim here. I don't agree with using AI as a design tool. I will only agree to Chat GPT as a quick research tool to collate data out there. My concern is who validates the data to be authentic. So I guess this is good enough for us to start part two. Thank you very much on the topic of architecture practice. There you go, Dr. Sam. Can you give some
Y- y-
comments about that? Yeah, thank you.
y- Yes. So I just briefly respond to that ChatGPT, who is going to validate that. Right now, they're providing some references. In some cases, when ChatGPT or similar tools, they provide references, the link is broken, so it doesn't work. It still is our responsibility to validate, verify the results. If we can verify it and it's something sensitive, we can like do this simple Google search and do other search, look at book or talk to expert people out there. I see more values in terms of human to human interaction in the future to validate those responses. In terms of her concern for using generative design and authenticity, yes, the current Gen AI or Gen design are trained based on what's out there and based on the designs that are out there. Still, we can frame the problem in a way that it can come up with a new option, new alternative. And back in the time, or even right now, when I'm talking to architecture, the way that they describe their process is like they get the specs from a client, they look at it, and they look in their dashboard, project dashboard, to see
Mm.
if they've done a similar project in the past, because they don't want to start from scratch. They want to use that design as the base, and based on the specs that they got from their clients, based on the request, based on the project type, they can play with it and tailor it and customize it. So they prefer not to start from scratch, and that's the way that they're doing it. So the way that we can look at Gen AI or generative design for architects is like how we can get that base from the generative design faster, and then start to play with it and change it based on the project specs, based on the requirements that we have, and inject that authentication that we're looking for, change it. And it really depends on how we interact with these AI tools. It's like whether we just give it the prompt, get the design, get the solution, and just move on with it, or we just get something to start working with it.
Mm. You're right. You said that I agree with you where in companies, in architecture companies, because of time constraints, they look at their previous design, maybe their signature projects, or depending on the client, it could be more commercial, it could be more less commercial. I mean, designing a house would require a lot of interaction, human to human interaction with the client and the architect to get things right. There are certain data, because I'm in I do accessibility and universal design. So perhaps I mean, I was just going to start telling about what I do, and maybe you could comment. So what I would be interested in is more on the functionality of the design, meaning that housing design that I give some help to the developer. I would point out to them critical dimensions. Perhaps the corridor is too small, the bathroom too small, there is a change of levels, and they, vertically in the section of the drawings. When we talk about drawings and translation into built form, so the people are going to suffer. The user is going to suffer if they need more help with architecture to go about, and they have mobility problems. So somebody drawing a line at the door would mean that there is a step. And then the drawing will be processed right into construction because nobody erased that line. So that, and in the contracting world, when they look at steps, they put 50 millimeters, which is 2 inches high, which is difficult for a wheelchair to use. I'm just giving critical dimensions. So there are other solutions to that. So there's a permutation and combination of how you're going to get a much more accessible and universal design solution. Because I'm starting to be pro AI now, because if I think the AI can help with the critical dimensions and get the functionality right, even for a personal project like a house, very subjective. I like red or I like blue rather than green, and that sort of thing by the person who is the client. Whereby the other projects could be more like transportation hub. It's almost like standard, AI could just get it all right with the functionality. And then there's the shell that you need to dress up, and which AI can help as well. So what I'm seeing is that AI can because they are saying that AI is already in BIM and Revit. It's just that it's not being adopted well by people who think that AI, like we said just now, is this monster coming that you can't you're afraid of because you don't know what it is. So in general, if people are good at design and people want to be better and concerned, they would embrace AI, you know. So I mean, we started with this someone. I quoted someone who was shall we say, not really into it, and thought that maybe authenticity, they need to accept that authenticity is not pure from the sky, that you're going to get this divine intervention of a totally new thing that you need to, but it is what you've done in the past, what has influenced you. Can AI be like a pocket iPhone? My past of how I design, I've designed certain stuff, and I personalize it, like, can AI do that in the future? Like, it's going to be, if I'm Naziaty, it's going to be Naziaty design that's coming out of there. What books I like to read, what drinks, what food I like, who I am, my identity as a human being. Can AI help me to come up with something even better of myself, which I would embrace? Because life is an illusion anyway, right? Life is an illusion. We are temporary on this earth. So we have grabbed so many things. We have adopted it and adapted, in our lives. So can AI be like that in the architecture design industry,
Yeah.
Yes, Sam.
Maybe we can step back. Maybe
Yeah.
we can do a game, like a quick game. How many AI interaction do you use Uber or any ride sharing You may
Oh,
have
yeah,
your
Grab. We
own
have Grab
Uber
in Malaysia,
brand.
similar to Uber. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. How many AI interaction do you think you have getting Grab from your house to work?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I'm the one who has to think where I am now or where I'm going to go. One, and then they would interpret that, and then what type of car, the location, uh, yeah, and they will give me a prompt that says how much it costs. Shall I say 5 times or six?
I would say at least 5 from the time that you unlock your phone, because it has facial recognition. I assume you
Yeah, yeah,
unlock your
yeah,
phone.
correct.
So that's kind of AI. So it recognizes your feature's face and it unlocks it. It knows that, okay, this is Naziaty. So it unlocks. I can't unlock my phone because my features, my face features, they don't match yours, right? So, and you can unlock mine either. And then
Security.
you open the Grab app and then you enter the location. It looks around to look for a driver. That's one AI. And it estimate the cost. That's one AI. It's like find you the best route. That's like an optimization system AI.
Okay.
And it's like there, and it do the transaction. There is like a thing that verify your card with the bank and whether the card is valid or not. So there are at least 5 AI systems that you're interacting with. So, and it didn't happen in the last 2-3 years. You probably use Grab for the last 5-6 years.
Correct, correct.
Right? So it's been around. But what happened with OpenAI and ChatGPT or other GPTs, they made it more tangible for everyone. Like now everyone like a search. It's like a search. They can, instead of using Google search, they can use GPT search to access information, to get their questions answered. And because of that simplicity, it's like everyone is talking about AI because now everyone can interact with AI. It's not just for big tech vendors. Everyone could just go out there and find I found like a pre-AI trained model for computer vision. And computer vision, it means I'm just oversimplifying how computers can see. Like back to that unlocking your phone, it could be computer vision and a combination of machine learning. Depends on how they develop that. But the point here is like it's been there. It's just like more accessible for everyone.
Because I'm thinking that now I'm thinking that after this chat, this is very interesting indeed. I'm sure the audience love it out there, the listeners. So this protecting the profession attitude, we kind of like have the old way of thinking, or we're comforted by how we were before and how we did things before. And then we kind of like want to protect it. And I think it has to do with the identity. I think when the identity, this is a big statement, which I'm just going to throw it out there. When the identity is challenged, then people will get, will get uncomfortable. And I think it's to do with, I mean, I want to move forward with this discussion, even after this, with other people, and the illustration that you gave just by talking about the Grab or the Uber example is great, because it made us think about, and then you mentioned about it's becoming tangible. When it becomes tangible, and there are more people, something trending or something that is um last time architects can just relax and do what they want, but now people, are you doing AI? Are you having open AI? I mean, I tried to do some with some of the software that is around, Perplexity, and then I don't know, I've been trying I try tuning, but because I don't have a project I'm trying to do it with, maybe I will now. And then it will then give a critical thing to me. I mean, when an image comes out, I would probably ask myself, could I have done that better? And that is the challenge for the identity of the person. And they have to cut, it's like a bridge that you need to cross. Because once you cross the fear and anxiety of crossing that bridge is there. But once you cross the bridge, hey, it's fine. I mean, this is another of that's an identity that I can embrace what an architect is. And I guess much of this issue is the generation gap thing. I mean, I'm stating it. I know that you don't want to state that so much, but for me, I would put it out there that for us who are still tutoring, creating the curriculum, even the Gen X and the millennials who had done manual drawings and also the in between, right? They studied in manual drawings, but of course, there is this detail that I need to know concerning AI, meaning and accepting digital architecture, because I still need to understand how the psychologically the Gen Zs and the Alphas think, even the millennials, the younger ones, and how to design. I have this conflict with my students. We're going back into the conflict has come from me because uh, you said earlier in 2 semesters they would get things sorted and they could go into AI, designing with AI. But
It,
okay, go on.
I was making an example from my time. Like they taught us paper pen drawing for 2 semesters, and then we switched to CAD, like AutoCAD, and doing the design with computers. So one of my clients, they're an architecture firm. They've been around like 70 years. And I was talking to the principal at the management level. He's been at the company for over 30 years. And he was sharing his experience back in time when CAD came out. They used to do paper and pen. And he was saying when CAD came out, we had to buy 2 computers and they were running 24/7. And people, they didn't like it. They were like, oh no, it's taking over. I'm going to lose my job and it's not good. We forget how to draw. And eventually, since they had 2 computers, they were dividing, like people going shift by shift, doing the design with CAD. And eventually, by the time it was adopted across the whole ecosystem. But he was sharing similar thing that we are saying today had happened with CAD back in the time. And one of the reasons is like we really used to do what we think that is correct way to do something. And it's really difficult to change that mindset and change that thought. I was reading an article this morning. It was talking about Clark Gilbert. Clark Gilbert was a PhD student at Harvard, and he researched all companies who survived during the internet era, or they went out of business, and or they just came out into the market. And his research showed some companies who just saw it as a threat, they probably went out of business. But it doesn't mean that those companies who saw the internet era as an opportunity, they won. Some of them, they didn't. Those who won were those who saw both opportunities and risk, the threat. So this is really valid that we're questioning AI as a threat, but in the meantime, we're also looking at opportunity that AI can bring. So if we just look at it as an opportunity, we can figure out how to match our strategy, how to adopt it. So keep a balance between opportunities and threat is one best approach to do.
Yes, we're coming to the end of part 2, and there'll be 5 minutes that I want you to go and discuss about what I have to say with regard to AI and architecture practice. The way I see it, I analyze our discussion from part 1 to part 2, and it came to the idea of people wanting to protect the profession, somehow maybe is something that people need to recognize, that AI is coming, and that you also mentioned about digital architecture when it came, and how people see it as an opportunity rather than something that will destroy the profession. The profession is still there. We look out into the world, thriving architecture profession, and maybe there need to be deeper introspection and discussion on the subject. But when I analyze this, I look at it as an employment issue with regard to AI. And overall, there is this uncomfortableness that's happening with some of us in the profession with regard to employment, whether will I lose my job, and so on. Will have shall we say, the skills are ready to embrace AI, but I've been doing it with Grab. I've been doing this, it's part of my life. But why in architecture suddenly I'm thinking, what skills do I need to prepare? So maybe this is the second one. And then the third one is the profession itself, which the, shall we say, those association or institution that represent the architects, there need to be deeper discussion, and shall I say, not just put it on top of people. You got to do this, or especially the ones with the license. But in our country, we're not afraid of that, because we still have people who don't really believe in AI in the in the board of architects. But for some countries, like in the United States, or I'm sure they need to address it, right? And they are discussing it in the AIA, for example, the profession that is in charge, the professional body or agency in charge. So I see that there's 3 points. The issue is employment. I'm afraid of losing my job, and I don't have the skills and stuff like that. Even in schools of architecture, what are the skills? They are focusing on the student rather than the tutor, for example, that need to also up their skills. And also the concern, the professional bodies and institution are not helping with this issue and just leaving it to chance. So please, Dr. Sam, you have the floor now to conclude.
Yeah. I would say, rather than being scared, if you're at college or even you're doing the work, rather than being scared, looking at it as an opportunity and see what you need to do. And one easy way is to learn more about this domain. It doesn't mean that you need to do being an AI expert, do the coding, develop algorithm. It just means that you need to understand how it works, how to interact with an AI system. That could be something that you can add to your resume when you're looking for a job. And at least in the US, we're dealing with labor shortage. So companies, they want to pick up more projects. They want to looking to increase their revenue, increase their operation efficiency, but they don't have enough people. So with AI and augmenting people, at least they can address that lack of labor shortage that they have. And with every technology, or I look at everyone looks at AI as a disruptive technology. It's not just me. And with every disruptive technology, some jobs will go out of market, but some new jobs will be created. So in order to stay relevant, it's really important to learn more about this new domain and see how it can help them, rather than just ignoring it. That's when you lose your job.
That's it, really. We're coming to the end now, and I'm really proud of being able to have this part 1 and part 2, because this is really a good learning experience for me as well, Dr. Sam.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Naziaty. I really appreciate that. And I really enjoyed my conversation with you.
Yes. Okay, me
Yeah.
too, definitely. And I'm sure the audience and listeners out there would benefit a lot from this discussion. Thank you so much for taking your time and your expertise here.
Yeah, and just adding one thing, if you're looking to learn more about AI and like looking for some helpful blog post guidance, you can go to YegaTech.com. We have lots of free resources out there that you can check them out.
Certainly, certainly. And we would also mention about YegaTech in our captions and thumbnails. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Dr. Sam. Take
Thanks.
care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.